It took Jennifer a considerable amount of time to get ready and turn herself in front of the mirror, carefully scrutinizing her appearance. Today is a day of such. John invited her to an expensive restaurant, and he probably wanted to propose. She had the chance to surprise her partner with amazing news yesterday, as she was in her second month of pregnancy. Your partner will be pleased. The girl was already anticipating a speedy nuptials, an elegant outfit, and her dear one nearby. Despite being a poor orphanage student, she was fortunate in life. When she was unable to find a pizzeria job, this guy started flirting with her. He was a wealthy, intelligent, and courageous individual who presented bouquets and read Yesenin's works. Without delay, she fell in love and gazed at her idol, captivated by their every word. John's lack of urgency in introducing her to her parents and friends resulted in them meeting secretly and like thieves. He repeatedly stated that he was busy, had no time, and had a lot of work to do. However, everything fell apart. The young man who was replaced immediately screamed and blamed Jennifer for everything, asking, "What were you thinking? What are the names of children? I have a contract with Spain and my future is in jeopardy." "Okay, I'll come up with an arrangement, give you money, and see a reliable doctor in 7 days to make things right." Jennifer breaks down in tears, asking her muse, "What's up, Johnny? I can't take the baby's life. He's already present in that place, feeling everything. I was under the impression that you had feelings for me and would be happy to have them as friends. Who are you?" She jumped out of her car as if bruised and quickly made her way to the dorm, leaping over muddy rocks. John was livid. "I'm a complete fool, an incompetent orphan." His intention was not to have anything meaningful with her, so he was taken by an attractive waitress from the pizzeria. The ambassador's daughter, Anna, had already made the right choice to leave for Spain after their wedding. What actions should we take at this moment? If this indigent man were to run away and reveal all to his father, what would be the result? Does anyone else share my opinion? This is the final step. He unintentionally came across an advertisement in the newspaper that advertised a trip to Siberia for tourists. Love, laughter, and the beauty of a wild taiga forest. A weekend filled with fun and excitement. "Here's my chance," exclaimed the man. The crucial aspect is to carefully consider everything and leave her behind, as neglecting this orphanage will result in her disappearing into the woods. The following day, Jennifer was unable to focus on work due to her hands being all over her. The bell rang after she had already been scolded twice and threatened with dismissal. After picking up the phone, John was approached by an excited girl who remarked, "Jen, I don't love you, but Jen," and became very excited. "Let's make peace, and I propose a weekend getaway to the taiga forests. It was like you were dreaming of a romantic relationship, didn't you?" he convinced. The girl was on the verge of crying with happiness. "Salutes, have finally regained my composure." She was ecstatic and quickly gave her approval after realizing his love for her. She had never traveled together before, but she couldn't wait until 3 days with her beloved companion. The taiga region's beauty deeply touched Jennifer. The city's cedar trees are massive and robust, while lingonberries and blackberries grow in large quantities, and the air is far from being polluted. She kept her mouth open while listening to the guide and did not trail him. The journey was coming to a close, and the final destination and return path were still unknown. We spent the night in guest houses made of wood, which were situated near a small village with only 10 houses. John was extremely anxious. His plan was in danger. The unyielding girl was determined not to be isolated and happily entertained by singing songs with everyone, while also consuming self-prepared fish and baking over a fire. The man realized that it was either today or never. He woke the girl who was sleeping and began to cry with an exultant, saying, "Honey, help!" I misplaced my documents, apparently at a parking lot. Let's take a closer look. The presence of bank cards and licenses is essential to my existence, but it takes a considerable amount of time to restore them. Let's just say that and give the guide a hand or else we'll lose our bearings, Jennifer replied. It's been a foggy evening outside. The insincere jerk continued to insist that he would change the entire group's fate. It's not too far away, honey, and I remember our journey quite well. Also, I'll bring a flashlight as we strolled along the path continuously and didn't venture into the darkness. The girl was unconvinced and relied on her instincts, eventually agreeing to assist her partner without even recognizing a rope coil beneath John's jacket. After having lost their daily route, they walked for an extended period, and Jennifer felt tired and out of breath due to the fast pace, feeling cold and scared. At night, the forest was unfriendly and unwelcoming, with predators teeming under every bough and she steering clear of branch crunches. Jennifer was so unable to stand that she said, "Johnny, I can't walk any longer. You have no money in your wallet, and there won't be many people with a flashlight present here. We'll revisit it tomorrow, so let's take a look." Behind him, the young man smirked in anger and whispered, "You made that decision yourself. You're a loser. Go away. I loathe it." And he placed a heavy log on her head. The girl gasped and fell to the ground. John rescued the poor fellow and secured himself to the tree by wrapping a rope. He spit his beer and quickly made his way back to camp. His companion's small, damaged backpack was hidden in his heavy suitcase. In the face of fear, what if he survived and ran away? I was unable to finish it due to a lack of courage. I wished that the animals in the dense forest would disintegrate and find a way to swim into the water. John looked down at the guide in distress one morning and mentioned that Alexander had a disagreement with his partner on the previous night, which she did not enjoy. Feeling bad, she departed the village by taxi at night. I reached out to her, and she is already awaiting the morning flight. "I'll probably have to take a flight home as well, but not accompany you. My mood has gone down, and I won't be spending the rest of my life in solitude without my significant other." The guide was taken aback when they announced that it was their first time practicing this. The family can be unpredictable, especially when we are all grown up. Should anything occur, we'll return for lunch, eat, and wait for the bus to arrive, but also take in the sights yourself. I prepare the group for the route, and you have precisely 30 minutes to awaken. The man's tale did not offend Alexander. Tourists frequently utilize taxis to travel to their lodgings, and vice versa. It made perfect sense because the front man was a wealthy and respected individual who didn't appear to be an unscrupulous offender, and there was no need to deceive him. John was filled with euphoria. He managed to get rid of the annoying bug that stuck with him, but now needs to quickly have a wedding day with Anna and avoid any potential harm. What is the outcome of everything? There was no concern expressed by this subhuman that he had killed 2 people with his own hands at the same time. As she awoke at midday, Jennifer was barely able to open her eyes. She was restrained by the tree with her hands feeling numb and sore. Her face was constantly swelling as the mosquitoes bit her in a shocking act. The girl was in a state of horror as she looked around, fearing for her safety. She was being stared at by 2 wolf eyes that were burning. With its massive, yellow-speckled fangs, the animal growled and had its fur stand up, smelling the blood of an inhumane victim, and was about to feast. As the creature approached, the girl closed her eyes in horror and tightly closed their eyes, muttering that she was about to die for a second time. Suddenly, there were gunshots, 1-2 close calls within a millimeter of her location. The animal jumped out of control and disappeared into the bushes with fear. She was approached by a large man wearing disguises and carrying an unsightly scar that said, "Are you still alive? Be patient, as I will unwind you soon. Can you tell me about yourself?" Oh, he remarked. "What aliens?" When she was finally released, Jennifer attempted to stand up, but her legs were numb and she did not follow suit. She had a loud head, kept herself hydrated with cracked lips, and whispered, "Thank you," before falling unconscious. With a stoic expression, Huntsman Michael lifted the weightless stranger in his arms and led him to his hut. As I was traveling, I pondered, where did she come from? Based on his attire, it appears that he is not from the local area. Is it conceivable that she is from there, or could she be a local? What's the reason for him being bound and suffering from a severe head injury? Someone did an excellent job. It's a miracle that she survived. The boy spent 3 weeks providing medical attention to the girl, administering healing injections, reducing fever, and making sure the stranger was unconscious without a second thought, even calling him Johnny. The girl eventually regained consciousness after the crisis. The sound of tobacco and herbs was audible as Jennifer lay on a soft, large bed. She was afraid to speak, observing the massive man who nursed her like a young child. The guest was terrified by his intimidating facial features, including his thick beard. The unfamiliar person started by saying, Sure, I hear you're doing well. My name is Michael, and I work as a huntsman in the area. May I know your last name? She whispered, I'm melting down. Half-heartedly, the girl replied, How did you arrive here, Jen? Who exerted such a strong grip on you, making it difficult to control? Is it possible that the police are already on the lookout for you, and should you inform them? Having recollected the horrors of her past, Jennifer gasped with frustration and resignation, acknowledging that she was powerless to save herself. But I have no choice now. I am not being sought after by anyone. I was left for dead by my fiancé GCC. I'm pregnant and undecided about having an abortion. He purposely arranged everything and abandoned me in this place. His final words, I hate you, come to mind. It would be more beneficial if I were the one who got killed by the animals. The topic of how to survive in the present moment brought tears to her eyes. Can you tell me how it went when Michael frowned? Let's take a moment to relax and reflect. Discard such pessimistic thoughts from your mind. He left, slamming the door behind him as it became evident who should live and who must die. Jennifer heard the big guy chop wood and place it in a heap. 10 minutes elapsed without any noise. He entered and sat on a chair beside her, saying, Yes, my friend. Believe me, you're trustworthy. Your honesty is evident, and I've met many people who have lied to me. If you choose to remain with me, I won't be a bad influence on you. I am unable to guarantee the abundance of gold as life here is challenging and you must work hard. The taiga is kind and can provide food for everyone thanks to its abundant forest resources. Honorably, I will acknowledge the child as my own. If not, I won't coerce you and will instead travel to the city, but if it occurs, we'll assist you in getting there. He then took a different path through the woods. Michael was not anticipating this from himself. He had previously made a vow to not bring anyone, especially women, closer to him. The intensity of life's pain was unbearable for him. He was taken into custody in Afghanistan, spent 3 years in a hole, and endured significant hardship. But his wounds persisted for the rest of his life. He would scream like crazy and wake up in a cold sweat every night. Despite the mother's efforts, she passed away in agony, and the bride, Jane, who was disloyal, left him without hesitation upon discovering his face. He departed from the crowd and went into the open air, remaining an adept hunter. His work was cherished as he could comprehend animals at a glance, and they compensated him accordingly. I had the impression that I would lead my life alone. They lived together because Cupid, the dog, was the only living soul. Such a meeting is happening right now. Initially, he felt deeply sorry for the poor thing, but as a babysitter, his love for tiny, thin, almost childlike hands, dimples on thin cheeks, and delicate blonde hair slowly began to take hold. He made a decision today and told her everything, regardless of the circumstances. He is a straightforward individual who cannot deceive or manipulate others. With a shot hair on his shoulder for dinner, the man returned home late in the evening and cautiously approached his hut. He was in distress. Did he abandon everything and go away or remain? The light in the window filled him with relief, and he smiled while shaving his thick beard. There was a delightful fragrance emanating from the house. A delicious infusion was being boiled on the stove as Jennifer finished making cabbage soup with mushrooms. Without hesitation, she examined his bare brown eyes and whispered, I agree, Mike, and I will be with you through sorrow and joy. I appreciate it so much. Stay with me and don't betray me. 18 years later, Cashin's family was hospitable, and his beautiful wife Jennifer and son Jacob were always there. The love and care of her husband, along with the fresh taiga air, have made Jennifer more beautiful than ever before, leading to her becoming a resilient, robust, and healthy woman. She never felt any remorse about remaining in taiga with Mike, the silent entity who exuded fearlessness and lived in complete harmony. He adopted his son Jacob and raised him as a true reflection of himself, with strictness and fairness. After completing his studies, the man decided to move to the capital and pursue his education, as he had always dreamed of becoming a doctor. But Jennifer stubbornly refused to let the guy go alone, wailing, I will go with Jacob to the city. Our regional center has always been the only place he has seen, and I used to live in Moscow. I'll assist him in finding accommodation before departing with a pure heart. Michael scowled, as he didn't want his wife to go to the damned capital, leaving only sorrow and suspicion. A mishap occurred. He was unable to quit his job and had to accept it with an uncompassionate heart. Despite the stormy, bustling, and busy conditions in Moscow, Jennifer and Jacob were left surprised and disoriented by their surroundings. What alterations have occurred over time? Stunning new buildings, high-rise structures, and captivating automobiles. The metro was the destination for both mother and son. Tramplings and beggars were spotted in that area. A person stood up, and his hand was outstretched. She detected a strange and inscrutable presence in this overgrown, unpleasant-smelling, untidy-looking man. She squirmed into the exposed, dirty cap and scrutinized him once more, taking a closer look. All of a sudden, he shouted, "Jennifer? Is it impossible to be? Are you still living? John, I'm in trouble. Do you have any recollection of me?" The woman appeared to have been drenched in boiling water from a bathtub. Within seconds, disembodied terrors vanished before her eyes and the mouth of a vengeful wolf. Jacob was oblivious to the fact that the man's gaze was focused on his son. "I bear no resemblance to my younger years, and the mole beneath my ear is just like that, without any visible indication of abnormality." The man looked at his mother in confusion and asked, "Who is this person, Mom?" What is the object before his gaze? Could it be that he's not feeling well? Jennifer was astonished, perplexed, and uncertain about how to respond or what to say to anyone. John didn't waste time. He took the opportunity to say, "I want to talk to my son. It is perfectly legal for me to do this. See how life has ruined me. My wife left me, the business went bankrupt, and everything fell into disrepair. Spending the night in the shelter is my plan, and I'm hoping for prayers. Do you recall our mutual love?" Jen's brave face was begging for compassion. Eventually, Jennifer found her composure, turned around to see her son, and confidently said, "Say no more. This man is not a deceit. He's your biological father. Learning that you were pregnant 18 years ago, he took me to the taiga and abandoned me in the woods before killing me with some mallet and fastening me securely to a tree. The scar on the back of my head was asked where I got, but your son has a solution for that." Jennifer proceeded to seek assistance from the man she didn't have a home. "I'm not sure if you did this to me because you were in love with me, Johnny. Michael, the huntsman, saved me from harm and provided me with shelter and an invitation to get married, while Jacob accepted and raised you as his own. Despite the years of neglect, this scoundrel remained composed and cognizant of his actions, even when he thought that my bones had vanished in the woods. Son, do you want to talk with your daddy or not? Being an adult, think for yourself." Her son was given the freedom to choose his path as she exhaled, turned her back, and stepped away. The sight of this liar was too much for her to bear, as she had no sympathy whatsoever and only felt hatred towards him. The man looked at John with disgust and almost loathed him, calling him a monster. "It's a shame that I had to meet you in this place. It's important to avoid getting close to your mother or vice versa, as she has someone to protect you. You are inconsequential to me, unconventional. Michael Cashin, my father, is the most exceptional and benevolent person I can have, and I don't need anyone else." Consequently, Jacob approached his mother. He embraced her with affection. "Mom, we'll have to hurry up for the interview." Let God be the judge of his mind. John's demeanor suggested that he had been spat upon and was angry with himself. The realization dawned on him that he had done something so cruel and offensive 18 years ago, almost causing the death of a mother and child. He was severely punished by fate for this, leaving him with nothing in his declining years. There are no family, children, a roof over your head, or employment available. Everyone looks at a dirty, grown-up homeless person with an unappealing appearance. Through a veil of tears, he whispered, "Forgive me, son, for everything," while looking for the woman who had once loved him and his son far away. Upon his admission to the university, Jacob was content with the settlement and had managed to stay in the hostel even after returning home for the school year. There was still a month left to go. While waiting for Jennifer and Jacob, Michael nearly lost his sanity and engaged in various self-destructive behaviors. I was apprehensive that she would unexpectedly decide to stay in the capital, especially since it had been her choice for many years. The forest and its inhabitants, including the animals. She is truly beautiful after all. The desired train arrived at the station, and his beloved wife and son exited the carriage. The wife threw herself on her husband's neck, hugged him tightly, inhaled the native scent of tobacco and wormwood, and whispered, "I love you, Misha. It's official. We have returned home." The air in this location is unlike anything else, with a distinct and native flavor. Jacob embraced the man, shook his hand, and said, "Goodbye, Dad, I miss you. I plan to go fishing tomorrow, and I brought the bait with me." The boy greeted Michael with a smile. It was 18 years ago when the huntsman expressed gratitude to heaven for the fortunate find in the forest, feeling a warm and good spirit within him. In the evening, everyone savored their experiences in the capital by drinking aromatic tea with fragrant lingonberry jam and crushed nuts and cheerfully sharing them. Is there any reason for me to be concerned about the unresponsiveness of my mother and son during our meeting with John, given that they both knew their family was happy and had a friendly relationship?